Welcome, everybody, to our 100th webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're super pleased and amazed that we've been able to create 100 webinars highlighting countries and regions that we love. So both Johnny and I, our goal has always been to share the love and knowledge that we have about these incredible destinations in Europe and that we've gleaned over the years. Some people, as you know, say that putting together holidays is easy, but we all know how complicated it can be. We have to rely on lots of people. And when we started doing these webinars, the reality was we knew very little about how they worked, but we discovered that putting them together wasn't simple, and we quickly understood that they actually had a place, and all of you guys spurred us on to continue, and we're eternally grateful for that. Our view was we all wanted to learn, and that was really the most important thing. And we ended up relying on friends and suppliers and hotels and tour guides, museums, tourist offices, national sites, chefs. I mean, it was an amazing thing. Partners throughout Europe and the UK helped us to produce them. And we want to say thank you to everybody who's helped us to get to where we are today. And we're incredibly grateful to our partners overseas and our partners here in the US who are the travel advisors throughout the country. So now, enough of all that about us and the webinars, and welcome to our next webinar. And today we're heading to the north of England, and we're going to be visiting a number of historic cities of England that are part of England Originals. And the weather today in this part of the country is absolutely glorious, sunny, and in the high 60s. Spring has definitely arrived. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this part of England, it's geographically very different from the southern part of the country. The mountain range of the Pennines divides east from west. And the eastern side is very fertile with lots of beautiful farmland. There's plenty of national parks and lakes in this part of the country. You may have heard of the Yorkshire Dales or the North York Moors. There's the beauty of the Lake District, which we'll cover in another webinar. And of course, I have to say this, that the Romans conquered this part of the world as well as so much of all of Europe around 80 AD. And one of the remains is Hadrian's Wall, which was the northernmost border of the Roman Empire. And you can still visit it today. And even the Vikings felt they needed to get involved hundreds of years later. And they ended up controlling the area around Yorkshire, as well as to the north and to the east. But enough about history. So today we're going to visit a number of lovely historic cities, as well as some beautiful properties. Unfortunately, Johnny's out of the office today at a meeting, but Francesco's standing in for him. Hey, Francesco.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
And for those of you that don't know Francesco, he joined us a few months ago as our Director of Marketing and Sales. You may know him because in the last 18 years, he has been working with the Italian Tourist Board. So many of you might remember him from there, and we're absolutely thrilled to have him on board. Lean on him if you need anything, if you need any content that you want to forward on to your clients, we're here to help you. And now I'm going to pass this over to Flo, who'll join us as we travel around this part of England. Flo heads up travel trade and business support for England Originals, which helped us to produce this webinar, as well as a number of the others that we've done. Hey, Flo.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for that.
Yep.
I just wanted to give you a bit of background, really, and just explain that England's Heritage Cities is a partnership of destinations which are sort of brought together by common product and interests. We exchange knowledge, benchmark performance, raise the profile of England's heritage city product, and joint promotional activity with the intention of maximising the potential of the city's visitor economies. So we're we're really delighted to be showcasing some of these cities for you today. If everyone wants further information after the webinar, then do go to englandoriginals.com, which is the website platform. It's got details of each city there. There are a selection of attractions, experiences, tour guiding companies, accommodation providers for each city, a wealth of history and heritage, which Tom has already mentioned some of, in addition to some more unusual and exciting things to do. There's also an England Originals app, which is an augmented reality app, which the visitors can use either before, during, or after their visit. I will just mention that we've developed 5 pre-planned suggested multi-city itineraries, which are specifically focused for the North American visitors. Very easy to navigate by train for a short city break, and they can be adapted for sort of wider England itineraries. So there's Western Wonders, Thinkers and Writers, Time Travellers, and today we're going to focus on Wall to Wall and Treasure Trove, which are 2 of those multi-city programs. So you can, click on Francesco, and we can perhaps play. Here are the speakers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is who we're going to meet today. So, it's the people behind the scenes, right? It's everyone that represents the sites, the properties that are taking part in today's webinar. I also want to say thank you, Flo, and thanks for everyone for helping make this possible. Cheers to everyone. I'm actually drinking a gin and tonic, although it is noon in New York and 5 o'clock someplace in the world, in the UK specifically, 5 o'clock. I'm suffering through this as an homage to the UK. So, Flo, we can move on.
Yeah, we can move on from that one. I was just going to introduce the wall-to-wall video. This includes Chester, Lancaster, and Carlisle as a summary video. And yeah, let's have a look at that. That's great.
Thank you. So our next slide, where are we going from here?
This is the wall-to-wall itinerary includes Chester, Lancaster, and Carlisle. And I'm going to pass you over to Paul Walker, who is our representative from Carlisle, who, although we haven't got a lot of time to cover all 3 of these cities in a lot of detail, I think Paul is going to give us a little bit of a summary as to what there is to see and do in this area.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm all right. How is everybody doing? Thank you for having me today. Just here to talk very briefly about Chester, Lancaster and Carlisle. So we'll start with access to the cities. So the three cities are really easy to reach. I know they're in the north of England, but they're all on the M6 motorway and the West Coast Main Line, with Chester only being 33 miles from Manchester Airport. And at the other extreme, Carlisle 93 miles from Edinburgh Airport. So let's start with Chester. Pop the next slide, thank you. A beautiful city, unique atmosphere make Chester one of Britain's most popular places to visit. Each chapter of Chester's history is etched into the fabric of the city. You'll walk where Roman legionaries marched to war, Viking raiders wreaked havoc, and Norman invaders conquered Anglo-Saxons. Chester has the most complete city walls, the oldest racecourse, and largest Roman amphitheatre in Britain, plus a 1,000-year-old cathedral, with Europe's finest example of medieval carvings. Shopping lovers will find stores galore, and you really will, because I love it, with all the fashion you could want, cosmetics, all set in the background of a unique city centre. And also make time for Chester Zoo, home to 21,000 animals, one from 500 different species. Next, on to Lancaster. Now, one of the most prominent landmarks in Lancaster is the castle, owned by His Majesty King Charles as the Duke of Lancaster. The castle, until fairly recently, was a working prison, and it still has active courtrooms and is home to the infamous Pendle witch trials. And visitors can book tours to find out more. Ashton Memorial is one of the North's great follies, spectacular views from the top right over to the Lake District. And the Duke's Theatre play in the park every summer, and that is excellent. Lots of great places to eat and drink, including Lancaster Brewery and Farmyard Brew Co, with on-site tap rooms where you can try a beer and be as close to possible as where it is brewed. And then I'll welcome you home to Carlisle, my home city. Carlisle is home to England's highest mountain, England's deepest lake, and largest city. Here you'll walk in the footsteps of the Roman legions at the northern frontier of the Roman Empire. Carlisle Castle, pictured on the slide there, top right, is the most besieged fortress in Britain, and is also the place where the popular Scottish ballad Bonnie Banks of Loch Lomond was written by Jacobite prisoners held in the dungeon following the siege of Carlisle by Bonnie Prince Charlie. Mary Queen of Scots was also held here under house arrest after her arrival in England. Carlisle is a stone's throw from the Lake District, and places like nearby Keswick, visitors can stand in awe at the stunning scenery of the lakes and the fells. Enjoy the best locally brewed ales, beers and spirits, and grab something to eat. Carlisle's coastline is home to quaint British seaside resorts serving amazing fish and chips and one of the most stunning sunsets you'll ever see. So attractive is the place that Whitehaven was awoken by the threat of invasion as the American Navy attacked the town in 1778, headed by Revolutionary War hero John Paul Jones. I'm happy to take questions in the chat if anybody has any. Otherwise, please feel free to contact me direct.
Thanks, Paul. Looking forward to sending people to you.
Thank you.
This is the second of the pre-planned suggested multi-city itineraries called Treasure Trove. And Francesco, let's play this video. You can have a quick look at it. Includes the cities we're going to spend more detail talking about. Excellent. Tom, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I mean, this is just explaining the connectivity between the three cities. You travel this way a lot, don't you, from London when you fly in, Tom?
I do. Very easy to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I will arrive in London and I'll catch a train straight north. It's an easy journey.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just obviously looking at whether you travel by rail or by car or however else you've got, you know, the distances between those cities there on the screen, and you don't obviously have to do all three cities in that order, but there are options for visiting various places within those three cities and then connecting the.
That's right. And York is a great. You know, you can park yourself in York and you can move easily from there, so you don't have to pack and unpack if you don't want. Very well located.
Excellent.
So what is our next slide? We're now moving. We're heading to Durham, right?
Kerry.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Flo, and good afternoon, everybody. I'll just give you a quick overview of Durham, which again is easily accessible, being around 2 hours 45 minutes from London, 2 hours from Manchester, an hour and a half from Edinburgh, which is in Scotland, and 45 minutes from York, and that's all by train. So Durham City sits in the heart of the county with the world famous Durham Cathedral and Castle, UNESCO World Heritage Site Peninsula. The iconic Durham Cathedral is considered one of the largest and finest examples of northern architecture in England and one of Europe's greatest medieval buildings. It was actually built in 1093, overlooking the River Wear, and has been a place of pilgrimage for centuries, due to being built as a shrine of St Cuthbert and the burial place of the Venerable Bede. Also in medieval times, Durham Cathedral offered the right of sanctuary or protection for a month to anyone who held the sanctuary knocker on the cathedral's north door by the Benedictine monks. You may also recognise the columns in the nave and the cloisters made famous in the Harry Potter films. The peninsula also includes Durham Castle, which was built to protect England's borders against Scotland, which has been occupied continuously since the 11th century. The castle is now a college for Durham University and has a fascinating heritage to explore through tours undertaken by the university's students of the castle keep, the leaning back stairs and the Great Hall, where the students undertake their meals. Durham is an historic city with lots of independent retailers, boutique, quirky shops, and includes 50 independent shops within the Victorian covered market, where you can sample local county-wide food and drink, such as Durham Distillery with its local gins, vodkas and whiskies, local cheese makers, plus also a new Durham mustard, which has recently been created from the original recipe, which was produced, first of all, in 1720 in Durham City. There's also a number of attractions within the city, including Crook Hall, which is a number of beautiful interlinking gardens, and a maze, which is set against a Jacobean manor house, the Prince Bishop's River Cruiser, which takes you down the River Wear, with its fantastic riverbanks and views of the city, and the Magic Corner, which is a new immersive experience in the world of magic. The county is easy to travel around, and there are other attractions, such as the award-winning Beamish Museum. That's about a 20-minute drive from Durham City, which is an open-air museum bringing to life the north east of England with its 1820s Georgian landscape, 1900s town and pit village, 1940s farm, and a new 1950s town. And that actually includes the hairdressers, where you can go get your hair done, an ice cream parlour with jukebox, and an old-fashioned fish and chip shop. And there's trams and horse-drawn carriages which take you around the site. There's also Raby Castle and Auckland Castle. Those are fantastic medieval castles in the south of the county. And alongside Auckland Castle, there's a newly opened Spanish art gallery, coal mining art gallery, and a faith museum, which looks at how faith and religion has shaped our lives over the last 6,000 years. The Bowes Museum also sits within the old market town of Barnet Castle, and that's a French-style chateau housing some of the UK's best examples of paintings, furniture, fashions, etc. So due to Durham City's city skyline, the quirky independent shops, the scenic riverbank, and the local food and drink, the author Bill Bryson called it the perfect little city. And now I'll hand over to Sean for more information on our UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thank you.
Thanks, Kerry. Definitely sounds like we need to spend time in your lovely county.
Yes.
So, Sean, we're now going to visit your incredibly beautiful castle and cathedral.
We are indeed. Thank you. For me, I spend a lot of my time in the castle and the cathedral itself rather than getting a chance to explore the county. So you're going to hear a lot from me about the cathedral. I will try not to go on too long because I used to give the guided tours here. So it is my bit of my speciality. And I've recently had the privilege of taking over group travel for the cathedral as well. So this is all coming to me at once. I've been here 7 years and done quite a few different jobs around the place. The main thing for me is how much we can offer to different types of visitors and the bespoke way we can do it. Since taking over group travel, I have put on visits to a factory library that looks at our manuscript collection, done organ recitals, which are advertised as private, but they're actually anything but they are bespoke organ recitals for groups here at the cathedral, and encouraging people to take a chance on visiting the museum. The museum is basically home to quite a lot of our treasures, our relics of our main saint, St. Cuthbert, who the cathedral was built for. And it's the permanent home to his relics. Within there, we have a hand-carved wooden coffin made by him in 698 that was carried around the northeast of England as the monks that protected him were fleeing Viking invaders. We have his 7th century gold and garnet pectoral cross that was given to him when he was made Bishop of Lindisfarne and was buried with him and kept from public view until 1827, when one of our librarians decided it was time to find out just what was in Cuthbert's grave. But for me, my favourite object in the entire cathedral also is in the museum, and it is a sword. And it seems very out of place next to all these relics of our saint, but it's a very important sword in Durham's history. It's used every time there's a new Bishop of Durham, and a ceremony takes place and it's presented to the bishop as a sign of loyalty. But none of that is why I find it so interesting. We actually know that it used to be looked after in the 19th century by Lewis Carroll's father. And Lewis Carroll grew up with it as a small boy. And many years later, when he's back home visiting his father, he knew the local legend about it killing the local dragon that terrorized the land. And he used it as the inspiration for the vorpal blade in his poem Jabberwocky. Which is, I always look at this sword with wonder. The fact that I get to have a replica that I get to carry around with me every so often has very little to do with it, but it does help. The castle itself, if we move over to the castle, is a very different beast. It's a very big working building. It's a university college, which is where the students spend all of their time in living accommodation. So tours there are really a lot harder to arrange, but they can be done, and we are making the best effort to do them. They are student-led, and they get you into places you wouldn't normally see unless you were invited inside. Always, for me, the interesting thing about the castle is that once all the students leave in the summer, it becomes accommodation. It becomes a bed and breakfast that you yourself can actually stay in. And I've just looked in the chat there. Yes, the thing I didn't mention about the cathedral was, of course, Harry Potter. Quite a lot of the first 2 Harry Potter films were filmed here. Shortly, you should see a video of me talking about my favourite bishop. But what I don't mention in that video is that bishop is buried in Professor McGonagall's classroom. They actually several medieval bishops are buried under the floor there. So next time you're watching the films, you can keep an eye out for those. I have actually, the thing I really wanted to mention is something I've just come out of a meeting preparing for, which is our museum exhibition in summer 2025, where we are going to have 3 copies of Magna Carta on display. Durham Cathedral is lucky enough to own 3 different copies, and we have the only 1216 copy in the whole world. So we very rarely get these out on display, but we have the anniversary coming up of the 1225 edition. So we are very much looking forward to displaying that. And I have exciting things in place, but unfortunately I can't tell you about them just yet because we haven't had them fully agreed. But that really is it for me. I think we've got a short video next. But if you've got any questions for me, if you just want to put them in the chat, I'll happily answer them.
Thanks, Sean. Let's launch the video.
Durham Cathedral continues to be a place of pilgrimage, prayer and proclamation that attracts visitors from all over the world and serves over 500,000 people in the region. And they come to see the shrines of not only St Cuthbert, the patron saint of Northumbria, but also the Venerable Bede, the father of English history.
This is the college home for almost 1,600 students. The castle was built on order of William the Conqueror. This was the home of the Prince Bishops of Durham for hundreds of years. The last Prince Bishop, Bishop Van Mildert, gifted the castle in trust to the university.
We're here in Bishop Cousins Library, which was founded in 1669 and at the time was one of the first public libraries to be open in the region. Today the building is part of Palace Green Library, which houses the World Heritage Site Visitor Centre, the Museum of Archaeology, the University Archives and all of our conservation labs.
We're in the Tristan Room, which is within the Bowes building, one of the older buildings on the Bailey. Bowes, the family name, which links us to the late Queen Mother.
I grew up in County Durham and regularly came here on a Saturday afternoon to ascend the main tower of the cathedral. That was our little adventure for a Saturday. And I always felt, and I still do feel, that Durham Cathedral belongs to me a little bit.
Of all the bishops here at Durham, Bishop Ranulph Flambard is my favourite. He worked on the Doomsday Book, he ordered the building of Framwellgate Bridge here in the city, and he was actually the bishop in charge when they moved Cuthbert's relics from the cloister into the newly built cathedral.
Originally the stone for the cathedral would have come from the riverbanks. The grotesques that are dotted around the cathedral mainly to warn off evil spirits. Every face is almost different.
Our university has invested heavily in a project to conserve the Norman Chapel, of course, the oldest building in the city of Durham.
All of this work is linked to a broader commitment that we have here at Durham University to the study of heritage, to the ways in which heritage science can help us understand the World Heritage Site in its entirety.
We have a chapel, which is part of St John's, that we look after. I look at that as a responsibility to look after that chapel, you know, for future generations. And we do so with love and care.
It's a very special place and people love and adore it, both locally and further afield.
It's a wonderful heritage to be stewards of.
You've had the opportunity to find out a little more about the people, the places and the projects that make this wonderful World Heritage Site the place that it is today. I'd like to extend to you an invitation to come and explore for yourself, to come and see all that there is to find here, to come and make it your own.
That was great. Yeah, it was interesting in, you know, we're always interested in seeing how many people are familiar with the area. So if you would just in the chat, just let us know what your perspectives are, what your experiences are, and if you think that it's a place where, you know, your clients would want to go to. We're happy to put a beautiful itinerary together for you. So from here, we're moving to York. Let me introduce you to Samantha Hunt. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Thank you for having us. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a quick overview on York. And I'm super lucky because we've got some amazing partners that can showcase their products for you. But York is a medieval walled city. We have lots of heritage and lots of history from the Romans and the Vikings. We have so many tourist attractions. So York has more visitor attractions per square metre than any other city in the UK. We have an amazing city centre that has lots of independent shops and lots of independent businesses. And some that you might be familiar is the Shambles. So the Shambles is in the centre of York, and it is very similar to Diagon Alley. And they say that this was the inspiration for that Harry Potter theme that seems to be very relevant for the north of England right now. We have the most pubs in one city. So York has 362 pubs, which are all varying in size. So it's always the traditional English pub is always a great attraction and a great thing for people to experience from lots of different audiences.
And I've actually tested many of them. So.
Yeah. We're super lucky. We're really easy to get to. So you can get from London to York in under 2 hours, and we are the gateway into North Yorkshire. So you can get to many different visitor attractions, the coast, the stately homes, the lots of different areas very easily by using York as a base. So there's so much to offer. We've got the North York Moors, which is great for kind of walking and exploring that outside, all the way to that city break that we have here. Like I said, it's a heritage city, it's a walled city, so there's lots of things to walk around. You can spend hours just walking in York, and it's great for lots of different audiences. So it's got chocolate, a big history of chocolate, so that's always a good key for families and children, all the way to kind of that national heritage of York Minster and Castle Howard. And we've got these guys on the call today that can give you a bit more information on it.
So, thanks, Samantha. It's a town that I hold near and dear. It's lovely, and as you said, so easily accessible from London, and a place to just park yourself in that area and explore. So now we're going to move over to York Minster, one of the most magnificent cathedrals in Europe, and we did an interview with York Minster a short while ago. So Francesco, if you want to launch the video, that would be great. So thanks everybody. That was an initial introduction to York, and now we're going to move over to one of the most beautiful cathedrals in all of Europe, York Minster. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. And Barbara, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great background behind you.
Yes, I'm on the pathway to the top of our central tower.
Good, and I'm just outside of the city on the walls, looking at you up there. So thanks for taking.
Wave and you might see me at the.
Yeah, little light. Yeah, good. I had some questions because it's such an iconic church. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the church, when it was built, and anything else that you might think of?
Yeah, so yes, thank you very much for the introduction. York Minster is indeed probably the most significant heritage site in the north of England. It is the largest medieval Gothic cathedral in Europe after Seville and Milan. Originally built in the year 627 AD, so we're going to be celebrating our 1400th year very shortly in 2027, and it was built for the baptism of King Edwin originally, a small wooden shack, if you like, a little wooden church, and then obviously over the years it's developed. It sustained the Viking invasions. That it became bigger. We had the Norman building built in the 11th century, when William the Conqueror came to Britain. And then it extended, it became this medieval Gothic architecture, growing and growing until it was finished building in 1452. So after that, it's pretty much in the same position as it was then. It's very spectacular. It's the 160 meters long, to give you a bit of an idea of the size, with the top tower, the central tower, 70 meters high. And it's in the center of this beautiful precinct with parks and gardens. So it's also very particular because it's got the largest collection of stained glass windows that have survived all the different fires and attacks and wars over the years. So we have 128 windows within the Minster. And we also have this beautiful space called the Chapter House, which is originally where the College of Canons, the people who run the Minster, would meet within a circle space environment. And it has a suspended ceiling, so it doesn't have a pillar in the center like a lot of the cathedrals in the rest of England.
And how much time is needed to have a proper visit of the cathedral?
So we usually recommend a couple of hours, because the other thing is the Minster was built on top of a Roman military fort, and we did some excavations back in 1972 and uncovered all this architectural, all these remains. And so we've transformed that space into a museum. So once you finish your visit, as part of the admission, you have access to this beautiful gallery where you see the history, but also some of our beautiful artifacts from our collection. So going around, yes.
And I from past conversations, we can organize private visits of the cathedral after hours.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's a beautiful time to come in, when it's shut to the public and you have the beautiful light coming through the stained glass windows. You may hear some other organ rehearsals going on. So it's a wonderful spiritual place, really, where you feel that connection with the space.
And the choirs, I'm sure, are just beautiful to listen to.
Absolutely. Yes. The York Minster choir, I recommend.
Thanks. So we're going to now, there's a video that we will take a look at. So we look forward to sending people to experience the beauty of Westminster Cathedral. Well, I said York Westminster. That's what I said, but no, that's not York Minster Cathedral. So yeah, we look forward to sending folks to York and also to your cathedral. So thanks again, Barbara. And let's move on to the video.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
So I'm Rosalind and I'm Music Secretary here at York Minster. The Minster has been a very important part of my life thus far. So I was a chorister here, a girl chorister, between 2009 and 2015. So I got to sing almost every day in the cathedral. I got to sing a really wide variety of beautiful music, pieces that have stayed with me for a long time. I got to sing for Her late Majesty the Queen's Royal Maundy. I was confirmed here in 2013, and then I was read out as a chorister in July 2015. I then came back and kept singing in sort of associate choirs in York Minster for old choristers before starting the role of music secretary this year. Well, this year just gone, and so I now get to spend much more time in York Minster, which is I really enjoy. I hope that I will keep continuing to return to the Minster throughout my life, because it's played such an important role in my life thus far. I'd come back to hear the choir, I come back to see the building, to find peace here. I think that the Minster can be seen as a sort of a homing beacon church for many people across the world. I feel like York Minster can be seen as somewhat of a pilgrimage point for people, and I know certainly in my life I'll keep returning to it time after time. It's such a beacon for so many people, and I think a lot of people have found peace and joy here, including me.
Beautiful. It is really just a special place to visit, and it's not just a place that you should go to just walk around. take the time to spend and listen to the choirs. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. So from here, we're moving to Castle Howard. So Castle Howard is this incredibly beautiful, stately home located in the north of England, owned by the Howards, and the Howards continue to live in Castle Howard. So we're going to introduce you to Abigail Olive. Hi, Abigail. How are you?
Hello. Hi, I'm really well, thank you. And it's wonderful to be here and have the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about Castle Howard, which is a really, really special place. So, as you said, Tom, still home to the Howard family and a lived-in stately home, which makes this very unique and special as a place to visit. So Castle Howard, for those of you who are not familiar with the property, is based just 10 miles from York. So for those groups and visitors staying in York and using York as a base, it's a fantastic day trip, either a full day or half a day, depending on the itinerary, just outside of York. And it takes you into the beautiful kind of countryside. We're in an area of outstanding natural beauty and a designated natural kind of landscape, so that the whole area is kind of fantastic. Paired with a city break, you get to feel like you're in this beautiful, serene rural setting. Castle Howard started being built in 1699 and took 100 years to complete. So the house was designed by Sir John Vanbrugh. Sir John Vanbrugh was actually a playwright, a famous London playwright, and good friends with the 3rd Earl of Carlisle. They met in London, and the 3rd Earl of Carlisle was keen for somebody to design him a house in the North Yorkshire countryside. And Sir John Vanbrugh decided he would have a go with the architect Nicholas Hawksmoor at the time. So what he built was something very theatrical, and you can see the theatricality of the design throughout the house. It was the first time a private residence had a dome on top, the kind of iconic dome that you can see there in the pictures, based on St. Paul's Cathedral in London. And because it took 100 years to complete, you start with kind of really an amazing example of Baroque architecture. And the house is asymmetrical. So that because it took so long to complete, the west side of the house is a Palladian style architecture, which again makes it very unique and quite quirky. Now, the 3rd Earl of Carlisle built the house as a family home. So it was always intended to be a family home. And that's what it still is today. So the Howards are direct descendants and live here as a family today. In the 1950s, as many houses did, the house was opened to the public to start to raise funds to continue restoring the house after the war. So during the war, Castle Howard suffered a fire, and the Howard family at the time decided rather than kind of give it over to the nation, they would set about restoring the house, and they continue to raise income and generate income to carry on that restoration, which is ongoing. So when you visit Castle Howard, you really get a sense of it being a lived-in family home and that personal attention to the restoration that is ongoing. Now, you might be familiar with Castle Howard as a film location. We featured in many things. Brideshead Revisited really put us on the map in the 1980s, and then the later film in 2008, as well as more recently Bridgerton, many other things in between. The house sits in 1,000 acres of gardens, which you'll see in the video we're about to show, and in a further 9,000 acres of working farmland. So we're in a rural estate, farming, forestry, really, kind of working with the land and protecting it for future generations. When people visit Castle Howard, then we offer tours of the house, and we can make these really bespoke experiences. So we're selling experiences, really, and offering experiences. We have an amazing art collection, furniture collection, items that were collected by those earls from the Grand Tour. So from Roman sculpture to classical art, we offer really bespoke experiences depending on what groups are interested in. And we have a team of experts here working with the family, our curators, our gardens and landscape experts, our natural environment experts, through to private chefs for food events. And we offer stays within the history itself. So we have 7 holiday cottages, which are right on the doorstep of Castle Howard. And these holiday cottages are furnished with the antiques and antiquities from Castle Howard itself. So it really feels like you're staying within the history. And we offer, people staying in the holiday cottages, those kind of experiences of tours, dining, events, VIP and bespoke packages, really making it feel like a very special visit. And also for people who are interested, we have just started offering stays within the house itself. We've been upgrading all of our plumbing and infrastructure to be able to offer stays within the historic bedrooms that are viewed. It's not yet, as Tom says in the chat, we're certainly not a hotel. It's a very kind of bespoke and special experience. But I'd be really interested to talk to anybody who thinks they have clients and guests who would be interested in visiting.
Exactly right, Abby. Exactly right. So just reach out to us, and we can help, and we can help organize that. I know that, Francesco, we have a couple of wonderful videos that were created. So why don't we?
This is a place of beginnings. Before this place was here, there was just land and an idea that Vanbrugh had to turn that land into something magical. A landscape for winning hearts, mind and imaginations, capturing the possibility of moments to come. The culmination of some 3 centuries of splendor. This place is sublime. You stand without at sunrise, the dawn in front and the great hall behind, making this your place, making this the first place of the rest of your lives. This place was built for people, and it was made for you to host the dinners, the dances, the parties, to pull the dearly beloved out of the day-to-day. Give them a welcome and those unique memories. Make this place your moment, and you'll own a slither of forever, picked out in broad acres and Yorkshire skies. A place to entertain, and yes, it's called Castle, but it was built to be a home, owned by a family and made from love and care and a dose of ambition. A space happily formed of beauty and time. Make your future your past. Make this your Castle Howard, a place like no other.
I just said in the chat that Nick Howard himself voices that video. He's got a wonderfully theatrical voice himself. And I asked him to just do a bit of a walkthrough of the inside of Castle Howard, just to give you a flavour of some of the rooms and the magnificent interior. So we're just going to take a little walk through with Nick Howard now.
Thanks, Abigail.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Howard. My family has lived in Castle Howard ever since it was built over 300 years ago. The house was commissioned by Charles Howard, 3rd Earl of Carlisle, and he got Vanbrugh and Hawksmoor to build it for him. As you can see down here, down the passage behind me, ever since then, members of my family have collected works of art, some of them ancient, some of them, in their time, more modern. Let me take you on a tour. The oldest objects in the house are these antiquities collected by the 4th Earl of Carlisle. They act as a kind of Praetorian guard as one walks along the antique passage which covers the entire length of the house. One of the grander bedrooms in the house is Lady Georgiana's bedroom, the bedroom of Lady Georgiana, daughter of the beautiful Duchess of Devonshire. It's very much as she left it when she died, covered with pictures of her friends and family. It really feels like a family room. This bedroom has a newly created bathroom en suite, which gives one a comfortable feeling of belonging in the house. The Castle Howard bedroom contains a magnificent suite of furniture by John Linnell, created specially for the house. So staying in this part really makes you feel as if you are a part of Castle Howard. Like its neighbouring bedroom, Lady Georgiana's bedroom, the Castle Howard bedroom has its own bathroom en suite. It's lovely enamelled wallpaper and the evocative flower paintings around the walls. The Great Hall is the centrepiece to Castle Howard underneath its magnificent dome. Currently, the house is playing host to an exhibition of contemporary sculpture by the artist Tony Cragg. The Crimson Dining Room is the room that we use most often for the grander dinners in the house. You're surrounded in this room by paintings which were either commissioned for the house or bought by ancestors of mine. Also on the table you will find porcelain services which have been here since the house began and which we still use for these dinners. Guests staying in Castle Howard have the opportunity to occupy rooms that are not seen by the general public. One such is the Admiral's room. Bed hangings and curtains in here are reproductions of a fabric found in our archive, our extensive archive, which features many, many pieces of material that we used in decoration of the house down the years. The views from the bathroom here of the Yorkshire countryside really cannot be bettered.
Well, I will say, Abigail, that this is really just an incredibly beautiful home that is made for very special stays, which is one of the most rarest of things that someone can do. So thank you for putting this together. Very much appreciated. And from here, we're going to walk down. We're going to go back to York, and we're going to visit number 1 guest house. So we're really happy to do that. And Nicola Smith was here with us to walk us through this. Hi, Nicola. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. So hello, everybody. As mentioned, I'm Nicola. I'm the Group Sales Manager for Guest House Hotels. So let me first tell you a little bit about number 1 York. As mentioned, we are located in the city of York, just about a 10-minute walk from the city centre. So it's a really good option for any travellers that are looking to have that city centre base in York itself. Number 1 is actually the second property that has been opened by the Guest brothers, which opened this hotel in December 2021. The hotel was previously operating under the name The Grange Hotel, which I know was obviously, it was actually called that for quite a while. So some of you may remember if you've sent clients over to that building, but now it is called number 1. So Guest House, I just wanted to explain, gets its name from its 3 owners, which are 3 brothers, Tristan, James and Tom Guest. And they embarked on a journey, I guess, about 4 years ago to open a new collection of boutique hotels in the UK. So I have the quite wonderful job of telling and promoting everybody about our 4 gorgeous properties that we've got across the UK. I think it's worth mentioning the name, though, the fact that we're called Guest House, and that's a little take on guest being the surname and the word house put in there, because although we are a luxury hotel accommodation, we wanted to very much create a hospitality brand that wasn't stuffy, that it felt like when you walk into any of our hotels, it's like a home from home feel. So although they're big listed, beautiful buildings, they very much feel like a home from home, making it Guest House. And secondly, I just wanted to explain why we're called number 1. My GM, I think, is always disappointed if I don't mention it's not just because we're number 1 on TripAdvisor, as he likes to always likes me to add, but it's also because we actually name our hotels after their door number. So number 1, its address is 1 Clifton. Just like, for example, we have another hotel in Bath, which is called number 15 Bath, as that's located on Great Pulteney Street. So if you see our numbers, the reason they're numbers, not names, is that's the name taken from their address. So as Sam mentioned, we're obviously just 2 hours from London to reach our hotel. We are very lucky. We do have a car park located at the hotel, which I know a lot of the city centre hotels don't always offer. And if guests do stay with us when they come and visit York, if they're travelling by train, I think it's always worth mentioning that anybody that stays at guest house, included in your stay, we offer a luggage collection service from York train station. So one of our hosts will meet your guests on the platform at York train station, and we'll whisk their luggage back to the hotel on one of our cargo bikes. And so we give your guests a tote bag with a map of York City, a bottle of water, an umbrella if they need it, but we really hope they don't. And they can take a leisurely walk through the city, either going through the museum gardens or via the Minster to walk back to the hotel. So we've got a very little video here, which is just going to tell you about our 38 bedrooms that's set across the 3 different levels of the 3-storey Regency building. We have interconnecting rooms, which are perfect for families. We have rooms with air conditioning, twin option for beds as well. And it's also just worth mentioning that we have 5 treatment rooms as well, which are located on our lower ground floor. So hopefully this video will tell you a little bit more about number 1 Guesthouse York.
Welcome to number 1 by Guesthouse York, a 38-bedroom hotel located in a Grade 2 Regency townhouse built in 1829. It was originally 2 houses, becoming 1 home in the early 20th century and opening as a hotel in 1990, before becoming guesthouse in 2021. Our Marmalade Lounge is the first room to greet you on arrival. With its pastel tones, it's the perfect place to enjoy afternoon tea after a short 10-minute walk back from the city centre. The room features paintings inspired by the intricate inlaid floors of the York Minster. Walking through the cosy lobby, you'll enter our Rhubarb Bar, which celebrates all things Yorkshire with a nod to York's proud status as being one of the UK's oldest railway towns. Our bar serves snacks, small plates and local cocktails 7 days a week. And we even, above the bar, have a little miniature railway train that travels around the top of the bar throughout the day. It's a favourite with all our guests, whether young and old. Welcome to Pearly Cow, a restaurant that obsesses over the freshness and quality of its ingredients in celebration of the Yorkshire Dales and nearby North Sea, cooking over fire for flavour and serving our seafood on ice. Breakfast is served here daily, as well as lunch, dinner, and not forgetting our afternoon tea, which is our special take on a British traditional classic. Instead of scones and cakes, we have a 3-tiered stand of the best quality seafood. Let's take a look at one of our large guest rooms. All our bedrooms have handmade doll's houses, which hosts local teas and an espresso coffee machine inside. We have 5 different room types at the hotel, which range from small guest rooms all the way up to our suites, which includes our Clifton suite, which boasts its own lounge area. Our bedrooms feature 4 poster beds, which most having Super Kings as standard, large sash windows, panelled walls featuring the Yorkshire Rose, high ceilings with many having fireplaces, and a guest house special touch is our record players in every bedroom, so guests can enjoy music with a bigger vinyl library found at reception. Our bedrooms also have bathrobes, sustainable slippers, TV with Chromecast, and a Roberts radio. In the bathrooms, you'll find either a bath or a shower, with guests able to request their preference when making their reservation, but our large guest rooms and suites have both. One thing all guests have to do when they visit number 1 is make sure they visit our pantry, which is located on the 1st floor. Guests can enjoy lots of snacks, fruit, fresh baked goods, crisps, sweets, ice cream, all included in their rate. It's one of the extra special things that we offer here at Guesthouse. Thanks so much for listening, and do let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. So now we are going to be moving to another property, also located in the area, and that is Running Park. Running Park's quite a different kind of property. And Matthew, the owner of Running Park, welcome.
Cheers, everybody, and cheers, Tom, for your 100th webinar, and cheers, everybody, to listening to what the North's got to offer and all the great cities and events and attractions. And there's a little fly through of what we offer, which we'll look at right now. But essentially, we can tailor guest experiences, and we're all about creating memories for your clients.
And we're going to now launch a video. So, Francesco, if you would launch that. And Matthew, feel free to comment as we go through this.
So my grandfather bought the estate over 50 years ago in 1972. The kitchen garden here. So I've got a passion fruit martini in front of me with edible flowers from the kitchen garden. So cheers, everyone. We've got 2 dining options, Horto restaurant and Clock Tower Brasserie. We're a family-owned business. I've been working in the business for the last 10 years. The rooms are generous, well-sized, can cater for families, interconnecting rooms, lots of space for luggage for those of your clients that are on multi-state, multi-week trips. We've got the UK's #1 spa in the country. Harrogate is a spa town, so we're all about Harrogate. In the Victorian era, people would visit, the wealthy, the fashionable, royalty would visit to take the waters, and Running Park Spa recaptures Harrogate's spa heritage, and we use our own waters from the ground here at Running Park.
Of course, golf course.
Yeah, how is your golf, Tom?
It's pathetic.
I'll take you on then. We've got we've got an 18-hole course and then a short course and a 6-hole par 3 course with an Augusta Island. And then if you want to practice, so our chapel's no match on York Minster or Durham Cathedral, but it's pretty impressive for a private family chapel. And that's used regularly for all sorts of events, weddings.
And obviously, you're so well located, easily.
We are located in Harrogate. Betty's is on our doorstep, and if your clients do want to visit, then that's absolutely something we can customize. And we get on very well with the family-owned business of Betty's. And the cafes in York. The rooms are generous and well sized, and
having stayed in your property myself, it's a beautiful hotel. Rooms are very, very generously sized, and you've got some great restaurants.
Yeah, and we're actually launching a new dining concept in 2 weeks' time, which is linked to the kitchen garden. And it's the chef is the host, and it's a selection of plates, and he's been on the Great British Menu, so we're really excited to launch that. We've got cottages, we've got lodges all around the 300-acre estate. These lakeside lodges are 3 bedrooms. We've got 2 bedrooms, so they can sleep up to 6 people. If you want a bit more space to spread out from Gateway to the Dales, or to get over to York or up to Durham, it's very accessible.
And your spa is.
Yeah, the spa is, and we're so proud, and we designed it as a family, and we put so much range of facilities, and it's award winning, and we're really proud of what the spa offering has. Offers to guests.
And your restaurants are fabulous. Great bars.
We got a good range of dining options, different outside terraces, south facing, This is the clock tower brasserie that we're looking at here. So breakfast is also served in here, and the conservatory next door. This is Horto restaurant, and then our own kitchen gardens. So we've got over 500 varieties of fruit and vegetables and micro herbs that are all used in the kitchens on the estate, and go straight through into the restaurants.
So beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and you've got this beautiful chapel.
Yeah, of course, it's not a match on York Minster, but for a private family-built chapel, it is quite impressive with the stained glass windows, and it's regularly used, and it's open every day for guests to have a look and a look around. So we look forward to welcoming any of your clients to come and stay with us and enjoy the north of England.
So just everyone, just reach out to us. I hope that this webinar was a great taste of a part of England that you may not have been familiar with. So just reach out to us and we'll help put together just a wonderful holiday. So I want to thank everybody for taking part in this beautiful webinar. Flo, thanks for helping to organize it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Francesco, I think that we have some prizes that we're going to.
Of course. Like Santa Claus. Here we go. So very quickly, thank you to the generosity of all the people that participated to this webinar. So we go straight to it. We have, as usual, our prize at the end. We have, of course, the 2-night stay at the #1 guest house of York, with also a private guide to the York Minster. Go to Castle Howard and then never come back, and then you're going to also experience the Durham Cathedral. And this lovely prize, the #1 guest house, goes to, drum roll, goes to Sharon Hayden from Frosh. Good luck and thank you. I hope you'll enjoy. Then thank you to the lovely gentleman from Radin Park and his generosity. We asked him for 10 nights. He only told us we can do 2. So 2 it is. So 2 nights stay at Radin Park, a private guide at York Minster. Again, a visit at Castle Howard and the guided tour at the Durham Cathedral. And it goes to, drum roll, goes to Barbara Dove, our tour. Barbara, and we are very happy that you are going to experience that. You are calling us at the phone. And finally, from GT Experience, $300 additional commission goes to travel group Sean van der Putten.
Sean, congratulations.
Looking forward to working with you. So thank you very much.
So I want to say thanks for everybody for attending. Thanks for all of the help in putting this together. All of you are just magnificent. So that one last thing, Thursday is our next webinar focused on Burgundy. So again, if you haven't registered, we ask that you do. And again, thank you very much. This was just a wonderful webinar. We're very happy and glad that you were all able to attend.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.